Her Story, Our Story, 1 hour of power. It's an online free private group for women. There's a huge disconnect between what we go after and what we really want. Let's move forward. Join Her Story, Our Story, 1 hour of power. Do you sometimes feel unfulfilled and confused about your purpose? You don't have to go it alone. Come on over to the No Judgment Zone where you're going to connect with other like minded women from all over the world and receive support from others who have been through similar situations. Everyone has a story. What's your story? Seeking guest speakers. Do you have a story, talent, or ability that you would love to share? We invite you to be our guest. Hello and welcome to Her Story, Our Story. My name is Stephanie Wall. They call me Speaker Stephanie. I am the CEO and founder of Speaker Stephanie LLC and the founder of Her Story, Our Story, 1 hour of power, and the founder of 1 Million Lives Transformed, where we transform lives, relationships, and finances. The goal is for every woman, every person to transform their lives. I particularly super serve those women who've experienced trauma in their lives. Welcome to Her Story, Our Story. Remember, you belong here. You belong there. You belong everywhere. Be sure to shine your light. My name is Stephanie Wall, and I'm certainly getting it all. Come on in.
Hello everyone and welcome to Her Story, Our Story. My name is Hope Jackson, founder of Always Hope, and my purpose and goal is to help women to unlock what is hidden inside them. I know from experience that sometimes in life when you're going through dark times, you don't realize the purpose that you have inside of you. So my goal is to help you to find that and just to remind you that no matter what you go through in life, there is always hope.
Hello, and welcome to Her Story, Our Story, 1 hour of power. So this is a special session. So we're going to start with decency and order. So go on and take us on in.
All right. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for tonight. Lord, Father God, we know that you are the God of all things. And the plan for tonight is not the plan that we plan, but it's the plan that you had. So, Lord, Father God, just allow us to have open discussions, just to educate and give people knowledge in regards to stress. Because you said to cast all of our cares and our worries on you, Lord, Father God, and you would take care of it. So, Lord, Father God, whoever is going through and just in a season of stress, Lord, Father God, we just allow them to lay it at your feet and not to pick it back up. And all these things we ask in your mighty and precious name. Amen.
Amen. So this session today, if there's anybody that, if there's anything that triggers you during the course of this session today, if you feel any type of anxiety creeping up, we encourage you to turn off the volume, turn the volume down, take a moment to deep breathe. And we're either going to show you a technique called 5 4 3 2 1. I'll show you that shortly to help out also throughout the course of the evening if you need it. But if you really are severely triggered, we ask that you log off or pick up your phone and call 988, which is a national crisis hotline, and just kind of talk it through with someone, particularly if you don't have someone that you already is your confidant or the person that helps you to navigate those things. Because know that even without a diagnosis of depression or anxiety or anything like that, every person feels stress. There's good stress and there's bad stress. So Hope, while I'm setting up, I'm going to bring up this 5 4 3 2 1. I want you to talk. Today we're talking real talk, you all, about stress. Have you experienced any stress in the last year, and how did that show up for you?
Um, so yes, I have experienced a lot of stress in the past year, financial stress, emotional stress, and it puts me in a place where I just want to shut everything out and I want to shut everybody out. So it's almost like I go through a hibernation season when I'm stressing. And I tend to make it seem like I'm the only one going through when I know I'm not. So, in order, like, I will be there. Sometimes I'll stay there for like a week or two. And then I realize, like, okay, you need to reach out to the people that can help you and get you through it. So, um, and that's not what I've always done. I usually just sat in it by myself and, it would get to a bad place. But I've learned over the years that I'm not doing anything alone. Like, no matter what I do, God is always with me. And I have a circle of friends and family that I know I can call on when I'm really going through. And the other thing is, I learned just to walk away, like take a minute. Like, you know how we put kids in timeout? Sometimes we have to put ourselves in timeout. Like, we need that time just to kind of get ourselves together. Whether you go for a walk, whether you exercise, do something for yourself, a spa day, a mani pedi, whatever you have to do to make yourself feel better and to get over what you're going through. I'm not saying that it's that easy, but sometimes we have to really look at things in a different perspective. And that's where, I do. Like a few weeks ago, I was stressed out and I didn't have money, but I booked a flight and I went to Atlanta and I hung out with some friends and I had a really good time. It was it was stressful because I was like, oh, I got all these bills to pay, but I knew the bills would be there. I needed that break. I needed to check out for a second. So sometimes you just have to do that. You have to take care of yourself. Stephanie, I think you're on mute.
You see me fooling around getting fiddling, and that is a good. Listen, what Hope, my fabulous co-host, just mentioned is something that one, many of us are experiencing. Two, she was the smart one that she listened to her body, listened that she needed to do something to take an action. Because here's the deal: you can think, but then we do. It is important. One of the principles that I learned from Trevor Otts is that we must absolutely uh, think more than we do. When I say that, process, strategize, decide, have a plan before you just jump out there. Because oftentimes we jump out there without a plan, but sometimes we can't overthink it because that's part of our stress. And that is what she did. She said, you know what? I'm not going to overthink this thing. I'm going in. But I want you all just to, and I hopefully, and you all can hear this, and let me know if you can hear it, and that will determine whether or not this is going to work. This is going to fly. Okay? Hold on here.
The 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method is a grounding exercise that can help you stay in the moment and avoid negative thinking and worry. You can do this exercise anywhere, at home, at school, in the car, or even in the middle of a crowd. You can do it sitting, standing, or laying down. Counting down from 5, use your senses to list things around you. Make an effort to notice details about these things. This is how to do it. Start by breathing deeply in through your nose and out through your mouth. Then slowly look at your surroundings. Find 5 things that you can see around you. Maybe you see a colorful poster on the wall, the spider web on the bookshelf, the lamp on the nightstand with the red shade, the cat sleeping peacefully on the chair, the cactus on the dresser that has finally bloomed. Then list 4 things that you can touch: the warm mug in your hands, the soft comforter on the bed, the denim of your jeans, the scratchy carpet under your feet. Next, Listen for 3 things you can hear. Maybe the ticking of a clock, the quiet hum of your computer, the sound of traffic from outside. Now try to find 2 things that you can smell: the tea in your mug, the clean scent of your clothes. Finally, list 1 emotion that you feel. This is a way to ground yourself so you can feel present in the moment and in control of your surroundings. Now you try. Use this method when you feel overwhelmed to bring yourself back to the present moment.
You're on mute.
I was like, could you still hear the doggone thing? All right, to you all. What'd you think about that, Hope?
Now I'm on mute. No, I really like that. So I wrote it down. So it's 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 you can smell, and 1 emotion you can feel. Like that really makes sense because you're using all of your senses to kind of to ground you and to bring you back. So I really like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't know if I've seen that. Maybe I have seen it because I think you may have shown it in something else we did. But it really does make sense.
And I literally went off of screen so that to do it. And I was doing it as it was talking through it. And it literally felt like, so I encourage anyone, if you know, when you have a chance, you can go back and watch the replay, ignore our part, trying to come back on the screen. But I want you to think about that. And you probably saying, well, why are we talking about this? If you are someone who has experienced stress, when you, whether it be now or the replay, and many of you watched on the replay, we want you to just go, me, look, hands up, whatever you want to write in there. If you felt any stress in the last sheet today, maybe I might as well go and put me in there now. Me, right? Who hasn't? This is this time of our lives. One, they just came up with another vaccine, but if you know, just dealing with COVID, the deaths associated and illnesses associated with it, just everything associated with it. There are many of us are experiencing an extreme amount of stress. So I want to tell you that women are under more stress than ever. I mean, more stress. I just saw a study today. They were talking, it was a study, and it was talking about working from home, right? Teleworking, and how teleworking. What they find out, it is not for everybody for a couple of reasons. One, if you are someone that your life is it made your day. You love to go to work because you want to. That's where you need human contact. You require it. You are, whether you're introvert, extrovert, or ambivert, you require some human contact just so you can feel alive. Then teleworking 24 hours, every day, 5 days a week, or 7 days a week, or whatever, may not be the thing for you, and it may cause you to start having some stress that you didn't know you ever had before, some anxiety that never existed before, all because you feel alone. You're sitting with yourself and with your thoughts. What do you think, Hope?
I agree. I definitely think there are some people that need people interaction. So being at working from home, they feel isolated. So they need that people interaction to kind of give them um, that sense of comfort. I think some people I think some people are stressed now because of COVID and they were home for so long. Then now they stress themselves out like every time they give themselves panic attacks or anxiety now going out the house because they were locked down for a year. So now it's harder for them to get out. So I think there's a balance that you have to find for yourself. Like I personally like being at home alone. So COVID, it bothered me being at home, but probably not as much as it bothered a person who is an extrovert and needs to get out the house. I'm an introvert, so me being at home was fine, but I do like social interaction. But so that was, it was hard, but I definitely think some people need other people's energy. They need that action, that attention almost of being out. So
I agree with you, Hope. One of the things that I was just even thinking about just yesterday, and I feel like it was around June, July, August 2020, when it was so quiet, no planes were flying, right? Wasn't nobody really on the streets, and everybody was just. I felt like most of us were working from home, myself included, and I remember just like, you know what I mean? That's when I think I just started like, okay, I need to get up from this computer. And I started going outside, like getting up and walking outside during lunch in the morning or lunchtime, particularly in the morning. And I would do I would go live. And it amazed me how many people came on like, hey, ooh, like they needed it. And we talked about, it was weird stuff. Like, let me tell you, I've lived in this neighborhood for over 20 years. It ain't, but look, 30 some houses in the whole community. Well, the next street over, I kept walking up to that street. And for the first time in 2020, did I realize that the street's called Little Brook, but did I realize that Little Brook actually had a brook that ran through? There's an actual brook. So the streets here on either side of it, clearly the water runs under it. There's beautiful, there's brooks. So we can walk it and you can see it leads and I'm like, well, who knew there's a whole brook? But I remember just wanting to go outside and feel the sun on my face. I didn't miss people so much as I just had to move out of the house. Does that make sense? I needed to go outside. I felt like I was, okay, why am I in the house? It wasn't like I couldn't go outside. Why am I in the house? Like I was afraid to go outside or something. But I remember just feeling like right now, anybody tell you, listen, if you ever feel like anxiety, and this is something that's really good for some people that are experiencing any type of crises that feel like they're outside their body, feeling stressed. Seriously, wrap your own hands on. Make sure you touch either side of your shoulder and hold it really tight hold it for about 10 seconds, and then let go. It's nothing like giving yourself a big hug. And sometimes throughout the day, I encourage you to do that. It also releases these endorphins. It's something about it, you all. And there's a scientific thing behind it, but I can't tell you what it is right this second. But I will come back and put it in the chat for you all. But I want to tell you a couple of top 5 things, and Hope and I will share some things throughout this evening. But we're going to talk about the top 5 ways that women can reduce stress in their lives. And so one of them, I just want to I want to share with you guys that we are under stress. We are under more stress that in my lifetime than ever before, for many reasons. If we're looking on the end of domestic violence, during COVID, more people, and with now, what people are now, are more people are teleworking at home. Sometimes their respite, if you will, was away going to work. Well, now they're back home, so now you got that stress. Then sometimes now when some folks never did send their kids back to school for various reasons, so they have that added stress. And then you add in any financial issues. Now you have that stress. And then now jobs are changing the way they're operating. So now you have that stress. And then not to mention many of us that we're home, we're more sedentary, then we've gained some excess weight. And now we have that stress. Now we have the body image things going on here. And then and then let's not to mention if you have any underlying health issue and you don't have access to medical attention or medication, now you have that stress. So it just goes on and on. And when you have all of that, then there's anxiety, and there's anxiety, there's depression. And with depression, it just compounds your other problems, because oftentimes when we get depressed, we stop. And when we stop, that means we don't show up in spaces and places that we're required to. Sometimes it's a job. Sometimes it's for our families. Sometimes it's for our friends. But particularly, we're not showing up for ourselves. So Hope, you want to add something here?
No, I agree with everything you say. I think some women I think women were labeled to almost be like super women, as women, we carry many titles: wife, mother, sister, friend, daughter. So like you said, sometimes you just have to say no to everyone else, and you have to take time out for yourself. Like, you have to put yourself first before you take care of other people. It's just like the whole oxygen mask on the plane. If you don't put your oxygen mask on first, you can't help someone else. Don't put theirs on first, because you're not doing any good for yourself. So you have to take care of yourself first.
Absolutely. There's so much to be talked about on this topic, but I'm going to tell you that one of the reasons that we've been talking about this in the last week, I've had not one, not two, but 3 different people to tell me that a loved one took their life or attempted to take their life because of anxiety, depression, and stress. And just today, my husband shared with me one of his dear friends had to take their daughter to the hospital, and he's experiencing stress because he just can't wrap his head around the fact that his daughter is dealing with anxiety and it all, that so much so that it is physically disabling her to the point where she needs to go to the hospital to get checked out. And so that you see how what happens to us affects those around us as well. There's no such thing. And this silent killer, as I like to call it, it's not so silent sometimes, but stress kills because it affects our body. And we're going to talk about some things that we do. I'm telling you right now, I have to be intentional. Because if I become overwhelmed, I have to shut myself down. And when I shut myself down, that means everything. And so I realized I was reaching a level of I needed to create my boundaries. I didn't reinforce my boundaries. So my boundaries were spread out and spread out and spread out and spread out until it was non-existent. And when you have no boundaries, you don't create and refortify your boundaries with people and individuals and organizations, what will happen is you will become overwhelmed. And when you become overwhelmed, you are not being effective with anything. So I just wanted to share that with you. And that was happening to me. So there was a few things I did, and I'll share them as we go along. But one of the things I did was I realized that, I was like no boundaries with time or people calling me and when I was answering this phone. So one of the things with my phone is I set the thing so that it will automatically be, put my away message, if you will, right? It will, what is it called? What's the word I'm looking for? This
D&D.
Yeah, but for when I what's it called when you put your phone where you're just not accepting any calls?
Do not disturb.
Yeah, also how about that? Do not right, D&D. Girl can't spell. Yes, do not disturb. I have so my phone automatically goes to do not disturb at 8 o'clock. It also tells I put the downtime, so it starts playing like this lullaby music to tell me it's time to go to bed because I was staying up too late. I'm burning, as the old folks say, trying to burn the candle on both the midnight oil, but trying to burn the candle on both ends, which was causing me. I was tired, and when I'm tired, that means it increases my anxiety, and when it increases my anxiety, it increases my stress, and when it increases my stress, I'm not a pleasant person. I don't like me, so I need to deal with that. So, but this is the one thing. So we're going to talk about some things that we can do. What we can do. I call them. I call it the three G's and one G and an E formula, right? The three S's, one G and an E formula. The three S's and one G and an E formula. So this woman here, I love this picture. The reason I chose this picture because I feel like that's most of us. We're not frowning. We're not crying. But we're just contemplating. We're always thinking. We're always in the midst, and we want to be in a better place, but we're not. And so I feel like this picture represented that, and this is why I showed it. But did you all know that 77% of us, according to American psychology, and according to the American Psychological Association, 77% of women experience physical and emotional symptoms due to stress. That's a big number. 77% physical and emotional, because most people think it's just emotional. It's all in your head. But think about a time that you were depressed and you just could not, you wanted to get out of bed. Everything in your mind was screaming, get up, get up, get up, get up. But your body wasn't moving. That's physical. If you've never experienced being fatigued to the nth level, like you just kept pushing yourself, and then one day you land in the bed and you like, what? I can't get up. I literally called my mother one time crying because I couldn't get. I was like, what in the world? I thought I needed to call an ambulance because I couldn't get out of the bed. It's because I worked myself. I worked 7 days a week. I was trying to take care of family, and I was working so much that I wasn't getting maybe 2 hours sleep. And finally, if my body said, you won't shut down, I'll shut you down. And when I tried to get up, I couldn't raise my hand. All I could do was reach over, get the phone, and baby, get up. I want to get up. I could not. My mother was like, you're tired. Stephanie, you are tired. Your body has shut you down. And so I shut myself down. And when I tell you, I called out on my job. I had what I call out. I had about 2 or 3 jobs. I called all 3 jobs, and because I just couldn't get up, I thought I was something wrong with me. She said, "Just rest." I finally went to sleep. They came and got my son was one son at the time, and they I want you to know I slept. I feel like, a matter of fact, I think it was like a full 24 hours. Who does that? Out. I needed that rest. But I'm going to tell you that 77% of us are experiencing anxiety and depression. All right, so what do we need to do? There's a book, and I've been encouraging everybody to read it. If you go on to 1 Million Lives Transform, or if you're in out there, there's a book about boundaries. Set boundaries, find peace, a guide to reclaiming yourself by Nidra Glover. I think it's Tawab. That is the book. That is the book. I want you all to, if this book, and it comes actually with a workbook. It comes with a workbook. I encourage you, this is her, this sister here, that's the author. It's a New York Times bestseller. This book is so good. The entire time I was reading it, I was like, oh, that's me. Oh, that was me right there. Oh, she talking about me. Been there, done it. And even when it's not me, it was me. And if it isn't me, then a moment, it can be me again. And if it is not me in the moment, it's one of my clients. And if it isn't me, it's one of y'all, right? And let me just give you one of the things that let me find it, because I'm going to find it in a minute, but I wanted to tell you that when she listed, like, what are the thought patterns that stop us from setting boundaries. 9 potential reasons why you can't sufficiently set a boundary. Ha ha! You ready for this, y'all? You fear being mean. You fear being rude. You are a people pleaser. You're anxious about future interactions after a boundary has been set. You feel powerless and not sure the boundaries will help. You get your value from helping others. You project your feelings about being told no on to others. You have no clue where to start. You believe that you can't have boundaries in certain types of relationships. And when she said you fear being mean, you know, it's like, you know, in my mind, I was like, I don't fear being mean. But, you know, we also, or, you know, if you've been told, like, you know, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing. Or you don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. You try to be kind. And so you really look, and I said, oh, maybe I might be like a tad bit of that, and tell you why. Because I know good and doggone well that there were some times that I said yes and I should have said no. Oh, am I the only one? Or you too? You got that disease?
No, I've done that. But you know what I also realize though, sometimes when you do that, like when you fix your lips and you want to say, you end up saying yes, or you're debating on whether you're gonna say yes or no. I always think about my attitude. Like, do I have a joyful attitude when I'm saying yes? Or do I have like, oh my gosh, like I don't, then I know that, you know, I'll retract and be like, you know what, I'm sorry, I really can't do it. Because if I have a nasty attitude about it, I know I don't want to do it. And then it just seems to be a burden. But I've learned over the last 2 years how to set healthy boundaries with the people in my life so that I don't overextend myself and stop being a people pleaser.
What do you find was your biggest, before you learned how to do your boundaries, to set boundaries? What was your biggest problem? What was the biggest boundary you just kept messing with, that you kept, you know, what was the biggest hurdle you had to overcome?
I always thought I had to be there for everybody. Like I thought that I was like if someone called me, like if someone in the family called me with a problem, I thought I had to be the one to fix it. I thought I had to be the one to resolve it. I thought I had to always be the one to be there and taking charge and taking care of it. Um, but then I learned that I was burning myself out and I wasn't there for myself. I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't taking care of my own kids. Like, I mean, I was taking care of them, but I wasn't putting that need first. So when I learned, like, I felt at peace, like setting those boundaries. Like, they're all adults. They can fix their own problems. They can solve their own problems. Sometimes they're just calling me because they needed someone to listen. They didn't need me to jump in and say, oh, I can do this or I can fix it. That's not what they were calling me for. They were calling just because they needed somebody to listen. They needed a sounding board to say what they needed to say. So once I learned that boundary, that it wasn't my place and it wasn't always my place to fix it. Sometimes it was just my place to listen. So that was the biggest obstacle for me. I thought I had to fix everything. I thought it was my responsibility to jump in and take care of everyone.
Hope, you said a word there. Let me tell you, well, and my therapist told me, and I had the same problem, and they have a name for it. They have a name for it, girl. We have what we call a savior complex. We had I was like, woo, I was like, I have a what? He's like, and I mean, you literally said exactly what he was like. Okay, so let me guess, you always come to the rescue. And I had to learn that when people are, whomever is talking to me, and they're sharing with me their issue, while they're sharing it, I'm already thinking, oh, how I can fix it. So I had to do two things. One, realize what you just said. They're just venting or they're sharing. And even if they do expect it, because now I'm always giving, right? I need to teach people how to fish. Right? I'm always giving, but they don't know how to fish. So if I'm not there, they're going to starve. That's what I thought. Right? And so I had to learn how to, one, listen to the problem. And even if they did ask me to assist, look at, there's boundaries even in that. Like, can you, or are you, if you're helping them, are you then depriving yourself? In helping them, are you doing it for the right reasons? And helping them, so there was a real conversation. And I mean, even to date, I have to say to myself, when somebody is talking, I mean, I promise you, just as maybe even today, I was listening to someone talk, and and I literally felt myself wrap my hands like, okay, they are not asking for you to help. You just listen and do not just be a listening ear. Do not offer to help. Because, and that is the hardest thing. I encourage any of you to just listen, to try to listen. Look, somebody throwing some hearts up in here. Yeah, but you must just listen. Yes, it's the hardest thing. So, but again, you all, if you're just jumping in, I want you to know, listen, I encourage everyone. Now, listen, I ain't getting no kickbacks, nothing like that. I'm just going to tell you that this book is life-changing. Set Boundaries, called Set Boundaries, Find Peace, A Guide to Reclaiming Yourself by Nidra Glover Tawwab. We'll put that in the chat. Hope, can you put it in the chat? The first name, the last name is spelled Tawwab. I mean, when I say amazing, amazing book, it's amazing. So let's look at the second boundary. Simplifying your life. Look, I know I'm not the only one. I know that sometimes we overwhelm ourselves, and particularly now in this era of social media, where everybody is pretending to be so amazing and so just, their life is so great, they have no problems. I mean, everything is fabulous. So now everybody not trying to keep up with the Joneses. They're trying to keep up with the Joneses, the everybody. They're trying to keep up with everyone, and it's not real. So now you're trying to keep up with real people. You're trying to keep up with fake images and fake things, and we are over. So an example would be, and even I encourage you guys to get the audio book and the book. So I got the audio book and the book. And when she's telling the story of this one young lady who was overwhelmed, and she's overwhelmed because she's trying to keep up with her friends, like going, and so everybody and their grandmama going to Dubai. You may go broke trying to go to Dubai too, and that's overwhelming you because you feel that you have to go to Dubai, but you don't know that when they went on to Dubai, that those pictures they showed with the camel and the red dress. I mean, or was that Greece? That's Greece. But they showed them with the dresses and all this. Listen, It's all staged photos, family. These are staged photos. They may not even stayed or even nowhere near any of the beautiful places that you saw in the picture. They might have been in some ragtag hotel. You don't know. And ladies and gentlemen, if you've never traveled across the globe, it is a long flight. And if you can't afford to get in some good seats in a good area, then that is going to be, it could be for us tall people particularly, it can be an uncomfortable ride. So I'm just telling you that don't everything that's shiny isn't gold. So I'm telling you to simplify your life. I promise you, if you don't believe me, take a look. Matter of fact, I have some things here. Try to simplify your declutter your home. I have one of my clients. It overwhelms her that her house is in a disarray. Like I cannot. She's stressed out. She's like depressed because her house, she feels is just. I just can't get on top of it. And I said, you gotta be like Patty LaBelle. Patty LaBelle says she don't have a housekeeper. She says nobody don't come clean her house because Patty LaBelle says she cleans one room at a time. So this particular client, I told her, okay, what is? Let me see this. I said, what is something that? Okay, which room is the room that is your Achilles heel? And she said, my bedroom. I said, okay, that's okay. We got that. All right. In your bedroom, what area in your bedroom grinds your gears the most when you look at it? She said, listen, in my room, there's a television in front of me, but over to the right, there's this beautiful chair that I bought. But on the chair is like clothes and all this stuff on that one chair. She said, every time I look at that chair, I feel overwhelmed. And I said to myself, I need to clean that. I need to clean my room. I need to clean my room. So I challenged her to just clean that chair. Her goal for the whole week, right? Until we made each other again, was to clean that chair and keep that chair straightened. And let me tell you, when she cleaned that act of cleaning that chair, when I met back with her, she told me that this would happen. Okay, she cleaned the chair, and she was like, and she realized she cleaned that chair pretty quickly. So she said, well, you know what? It led to her so then she could see the chair was clean, but look like some things on top of her dresser. So she got the feeling, and next thing you know, she cleaned the dresser off. And then after a while, you know how we do. So I told her that. So you're in your room watching television. You get watching whatever you're watching. The Housewives or whatever it is you're watching, but you're in the room. I said, okay, the television is on. Well, just keep moving about the room. Keep looking back at your television. You can still get your little activities in. And she found that she could watch television, still watch her favorite shows, and clean up her room. And then her room became her oasis. And so that would led to one more thing. Well, you know what? Once I clean my bedroom, you know what? Now the bathroom next door in my room, they go the ensuite. I mean, tackle one thing in there. So the deal is you all tackle one thing at a time, but simplify your life. Don't try to eat the whole elephant at one time. Don't try to clean up the whole house at one time. It ain't gonna happen, y'all. Some people can do it, many can't. Simplify your life. Don't overcomplicate things. What is something that you do hope that helps you to simplify your life?
I used to write down in regards to cleaning the house, and I need to get back to doing it. I would create like Monday, was made clean the, change my sheets or something like that. So I put things on certain days. That way it would help me, one, to get things done, and two, make it feel like I'm not trying to do everything all, like you said, all in one time. My bathrooms are pretty much clean. Like I deep clean them at least once a week, but I wipe down everything pretty much every day with like a Clorox wipe or something. But I think the other thing, like with simplifying your life, is like you said, stop feeling like you have to do everything right then and there. Like there's some things like if you have a dishwasher and you got dirty dishes in your sink, just put the dirty dishes in the dishwasher. It costs less money for you to run your dishwasher than to run water and wash your dishes in the sink. Just throw the things in the dishwasher. And that's one thing out of your way. Like stop feeling like I have like if you go to work and you work 8 to 5 and you come home, you cook dinner, make things simple for yourself. Stop thinking you gotta, get the things that make cooking dinner easy. Get an Instapot. Put everything in the Instapot, and you got a meal. You can have a quick meal. You can put everything in there: the chicken, potatoes, vegetables, carrots, whatever, and you got a full meal probably in 30 minutes.
That Instapot is everything. And let me tell you this: there is so many things that we did as kids or we're younger that we thought was a pain, but it simplified our life. Do you remember this was the first few weeks of school when you had to lay your clothes out? Because wasn't nobody trying to have that conversation with you first thing in the morning. Well, I don't know what to wear. You knew what to wear because it was all laid out. I'm talking down to the belt, right? So I'm saying to simplify our life, let's get back to one list. I do 10 things before 10. That if I don't have a list, inevitably the thing I needed to get done is not going to get done. You all, if you are somebody that, especially when your life is complicated, don't expect your mind to remember all this stuff you got to do, whether it be a Google Calendar, Notion, but you should be using something to keep your life organized, or else that alone will get you all stressed out. Trevor Ott says that most entrepreneurs, most business owners are super frustrated and have anxiety, and all of it is surrounded around having the wrong tool. If they have the right tool, they have the wrong strategy. So let's just keep it moving. All right, we know that stress can lead to physical illness, including heart disease and stroke. Now, in our community, we don't need anything increasing our odds of heart disease or stroke, because quite frankly, we already have that. We're predisposed by nature because of our culture, right? So we have to do everything we can to not add anything else to this. My dad, our dad, he also was drinking on they call it the sauce, too much of the sauce, but he was out and about, and he was at the top of the stairs somewhere in Baltimore, and I'll have some cocktails. Hey, Pam. And he fell on these stairs. We don't know if he had the stroke or the heart attack first, but he had both. And he never recovered from it, so we lost our dad. But that can happen to any of us. That can happen to any of us because of stress and stress. There's good stress. There's some good stress. We want to have some stress, but the bad stress is what we don't want to have. You all, I'm going to encourage you, whatever you do, and let me be the first one to say this. If you are an adult, you're a human, I think that every human should have in their lifetime, if not more than once, or more than once a year, particularly when we get a lot of stuff that we're downloading. If you're a coach, or if you're around people that's talking to you and they're downloading stuff on you, or if you've got a lot of things going on in your life and you've experienced some significant trauma in your life, you have got to talk to a professional and release that out to them. Download that you must journal. And if you're a person of faith, I encourage you to pray and talk with your pastors, reverends, or at the mosque, wherever you serve. Talk to the leadership there about your spiritual health. Because mind, body, and spirit. Mind, body, and spirit. We are a spirit, ladies and gentlemen. This is a vessel. That's a whole nother talk show. All right. But let me just tell you, seek professional help. We talked about, and I want you to get organized. When you are organized, yes, Pam, and I do too. Let me tell y'all right now. Oh, thank my mother. Listen. Coaches need coaches. Therapists need therapists. Doctors need doctors. Lawyers need lawyers. Preachers need faith leaders need faith leaders. It goes on and on and on. If you think for 1 second that you can be out here doing life and by nature, I am a coach. And in my coaching business, I deal with people who also have therapists. So sometimes when I'm talking to them about their coaching, their business or their life, these things I'm helping with their coaching, a lot of their life seeps into it. So that means it's also kind of a little bit of therapy. Now, I am not a therapist. I am a coach. Although, I guess I'm not a psychology major. I don't have a degree. I'm not a licensed clinician. So I tell them to go see their therapist. But I share with them what has helped me. And through my coaching program, my certified coaching program, I've learned techniques to help people like the one we showed you guys, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 earlier. So if you haven't watched this, you guys, please go back and watch the replay, because at the very beginning, there was an exercise that we did. It's called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a video we showed. It's very helpful, and we can talk about it later again. But get yourself organized. Look, my sister Pam's on here, and she'll tell you, we all have books. Now, this is one I was just at a mastermind, and we got a journal, we got a book. So I love books, but I'm already writing all over this one. But I'm going to tell you, if I don't write down what I have to do daily, something's not going to get done. I'm going to miss it. And if I miss it, I'm going to be stressed. If I'm stressed, then my anxiety is going to raise. When my anxiety is going to raise, it will lead to a lot of missteps. And missteps can make one depressed. It can make me depressed. Let me just say this, you all. If you haven't ever experienced a moment, a second, a period of depression in your lifetime, count yourself blessed. But as my late father-in-law used to say, keep having birthdays. Because when you have experienced any trauma in your life, you tend to either try to tamper it down, but how many of you know that trauma unchecked will come back and wreck your life? And this is what I know. So do what you can to be organized. Exercise. Pam's on here. My sister Pam is on here, and she has to help with her own anxiety, her own depression, her own mental well-being. For years now, she has been walking. So for a full over a year now, she walks. That is her stress release. She's going to start her day out with a walk. She's going to start her day out with some exercise. And so I encourage you. Now, I keep doing that on and off. I get started and I do it for a while and I forget. And then I realize when my anxiety creeps back up, there's a couple of things I have to do. One, the alarm goes off. Once you get up and you relieve yourself in the morning, I pull out my phone and I have a 5, 10, or 20 minute, depending on what kind of time I have, and I do a meditation. Breathe in. Because we don't take deep breaths. I make sure I do that. I take time to meditate on, for me, I'm a woman of faith, so I try to meditate on the Bible and talk to my Heavenly Father, to talk and clear my mind, set my day. And then for anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes, and you can do that while you're talking to somebody else on the phone, while you're watching the news or whatever. I keep moving. Sometimes it's light weights. Sometimes it's marching in place. But just moving my body. Sometimes it's doing, little crunches or whatever. But do something for 10 to 30 minutes every day. That's your exercise. It releases endorphins that you need to release to help you to reduce the amount of stress that you would have on your body. Again, I said at the very beginning, if you're feeling any triggers, or if you're ever feeling any anxiety, and I encourage you to share this 988. Just dial 988 or text 988. It is the National Crisis Hotline. The National Crisis Hotline. If you ever experiencing some drama, you in the moment, oh my God, I'm trying to have somebody to talk to, pick up the phone 24/7, 365. Call 988. Somebody is on the other line will talk with you until you don't need them to talk to you anymore. Okay, that's what they're there for, because they recognize number one, the 1-800, the 188. The number was too long. People was gonna forget it, but they won't forget 988. So we have that. So let's recap the 3 S's, the 1 G, and an E. We want you to set boundaries, simplify your life, seek professional help, get organized, and exercise. Set boundaries, simplify your life, seek professional help, get organized, and exercise. That's the 3 S's, the 1 G, and an E formula. Now I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Hope, what's your thoughts?
I think I think this was very much needed information. One, again, people are just stressed. We're about to go into holiday season, which causes a lot of stress and anxiety for a lot of people. Um, for whatever reason, they could have lost a family member, or people just go through holiday seasonal depression and anxiety and stress. So I really hope people are listening. I really hope people share. And everything that we talked about may not work for you, but find what's best for you and helping you relieve your stress. But get up and move, I think a lot of times helps you. Because again, just like you talked about the hug releases endorphins, and it releases that I think it's the oxytocin or whatever, that just makes you feel happy. And then when you move, when you get up and you walk, it releases that same endorphin. But I think you just got to find what works best for you. What is the right balance for you and your life and everything that you have going on. I remember being a young mom, and when I got home from work and before I dealt with the kids, I'd sit in the car for like 10 minutes. And that was just my minute, but my few minutes before I went in and had to deal with them. If you have to lock yourself in a closet, sit in the bathroom, in your bathtub, find what works best for you. That was it for me.
Yeah, and let me tell you, Trevor, he told us this thing. He said, when we see a map is nothing more than somebody's documentation of their journey. A map is nothing more than someone's documented journey. So we're trying to get from here to here, or we're trying to establish some things in our lives. So make sure you write a plan. Everything that you do, I don't care. I want you to treat your life like you do your vacation list, your packing list when you're ready to go on vacation. Write everything down to reduce your stress. Do what you can. Be intentional about your reducing your stress, and particularly now. And I want to say this before we have to sign off here, because you mentioned something huge, which was just the holidays are coming, you all. The holidays are coming, and I want everybody to do this. Do us all a favor. Let's normalize. Let us all normalize not overspending beyond our budgets. Let's normalize buying things that we need, and versus a bunch of things to try to keep up with the fakeity, as I like to call it, on social media. Let's normalize everything that was normal before the pandemic. Let's normalize being happy for each other. Let's normalize doing things for the holidays that doesn't cost money. Let's normalize the what's the white elephant swap, right? Let's normalize not bringing big gifts and trying, for exchanges. Let's normalize writing a note for each other instead. Let's normalize, I could just go on and on. I could go on for about 20 minutes, but let's normalize. Because I, for one, I want you to decide right now, today, what is something that you love that's not too expensive, that you can decide everybody on your list is getting one of those things. For me, everybody already knows you get the book. You're getting a book, because I think that knowledge is power. I think knowledge is power. I love books. Hope gave me a book, and I'm like, hey, I'm Candy. So I tell everybody, come give me a book. I love books. I love books, and I like little $10 little t-shirts. You know, t-shirts that say stuff on it that's witty. I like little t-shirts. You know, because they're very expressive, and they're not you know. Now don't be going by the $25. Now I know certain things can be high, but what I'm saying is, if you go somewhere and you say, oh my God, they got all those $10 t-shirts, baby, buy all them $10 t-shirts and give them to people for gifts. You be the giver of gift if that's what you want to do. But I encourage you to, for the people that have everything, just be you, be amazing, and be you. But I want you from this moment forward to I need you to set some boundaries. Set some boundaries right now for the holidays, because you're going to be overwhelmed. You don't have to go to all the parties. You can say no. You don't have to go to look. Don't try to be everything. And look at it. Look, if you got about 4 galas, God dang it, change your shoes, change your earring, change your hairstyle, change your lipstick, and with the same daggone dress, put a little different shawl on and keep it smoking. But do not listen. And somebody, if you got about 4 or 5 gala gowns, you can't film no more. Look, put them on. Won't you start a list? Hey, I got a bunch of gowns. Hey, my friends, let's do a gown exchange so we can all make it these galas. You know, whatever you want to do. But I encourage you, instead of to simplify your life this holiday season. And if you are responsible for Thanksgiving dinner, do everything. You sit down and say to myself, okay, how can we simplify this? How can I make this less stress for me and still fun for other people without overwhelming yourself, without worrying about who impressed, but with instead worrying about it just being what it really is supposed to be, a time of coming together for thanks, to giving thanks, right? This holiday, right? Just about giving thanks. So I challenge everybody to making this holiday season, and the rest of your life, but this season one where you spend more time relaxing and releasing and giving thanks than you doing spending money. And then my last one is, I want you not, and you're going to read that in the book also, which is the book about boundaries. They talk about, which I loved it when she said it. This is the book. I don't own the book. I just read the book. I thought it was amazing. And that is this. She said that we often confuse our pampering sessions with self-care. Spending money, self-care, if you spend it, you're not supposed to be spending money. Self-care does not require money. So if you're saying self-care when you get your nails done, no, that's pampering. If you get the massage and you say self-care, nope, that's pampering. Self-care is things you can do that cost you nothing, like sitting quietly, prayer, taking a walk, mind, body, and spirit, things that help your body to relax, that doesn't cost you any money. So I want to see everybody posting their self-care things that they're doing that's costing them nothing. They're not in anybody's establishment. They're somewhere taking care of themselves. Deep breaths, something that's not costing you a dime. So Hope, take us all away. We are 4 minutes over, but it's all good. Hope, give us your final thoughts and take us out.
All right, everyone. I pray that you receive something, some tips, some tools, some resources to help you to reduce your stress level. We are not meant to be stressed. That is not what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be joyful. We're supposed to live in abundance. That's what God wanted us to do. So reduce your stress. Use some tips and tools that we've offered tonight to reduce your stress levels. Allow your light to shine. Don't let anyone dim it. Don't dim your own light. Just let your light shine and be who God called you to be. And have a blessed evening. And we will see you all next week. Good night.